Words after speech reach into silence. Only by the form, the pattern, can words or music reach the stillness, as a Chinese jar still moves perpetually in its stillness. Or say that the end precedes the beginning, and the end and the beginning were always there.
演出现在开始。
Now the performance begins.
Joshua, you want to say something?
No, not freaked out.
Talk about the masks that you wore. The three of you.
Oh, the masks. Would
You should put on the
masks?
masks. The three of them put on the mask for you. Go ahead. That's how they slept last night.
Yes, I have a mask.
You've got to see our masks.
Oh, show us it.
Here you go.
Don't go over there.
Remember,
He'll come around.
Last night, one of the crew members came and asked us why we were wearing these. What did you say, Dave?
They all have contagious disease. That's why.
对大学生进行社会责任感的教育的目的呢，那么就是使学生懂得呀，我为别人负责，别人也为我负责；我为别人服务，别人也为我服务；我为别人谋福利，别人也为我谋福利。
To cultivate the responsibility of the student, of the college students, means that we would like them to know that if they are serving the society is also serving them. If they are responsible to the society, and the society has also the responsibility of them themselves.
I feel tired. And I feel sleepy. But anyway, I'm glad to come that I'm able to come.
What do you look forward to in this trip?
Meeting new friends and learning a lot of things.
This is my second trip to China. So I was here in 1990 at the one-year anniversary of Tiananmen, and it was a very charged political moment. I was here to teach journalism, and I felt that although I saw a lot, I felt that there was a sense of control everywhere and tension, particularly in Beijing. And so I've returned in the hope that I would get to see a little more relaxation and speak with people. I'm very interested in less the tourist attractions and more the people, the poetry of their lives, their faces.
I find the Americans that work on this conference to be the most interestingly cooperative of any Americans that I work with on any other project. Something seems to happen to them when they come to China, or even when we're thinking about going to China, that changes them. And I really enjoy being with them, which is not always the case at committee meetings in New York City. I'm also very delighted that there's so much continuity on the Chinese side since we started in 1985, so that we have a real trust building up, which I think we can use.
Can you hear it? Say something, Julian.
Very hot.
That's terrific.
Chinese breakfast was very, very good. It was a very good standard Chinese breakfast. And the beds are very comfortable. The bathrooms leave much to be desired.
How about you, Sue?
Well, I thought that the actual cabin that we had was a lot better than even the plane ride, so that was a very good thing. The bathrooms do leave a lot to be desired, and the smell in the bathroom leaves a lot to be desired. But all in all, the trip is very pleasurable.
Beach.
Waiting for a rain. Rain here. This doesn't bode well at all.
What is it that you would like me to do?
Oh my God! Look at this!
He's giving you the James Earl Jones.
I mean, after
He's going to be
all,
played by James Earl Jones, needless to say.
this has been a fascinating trip for all of us.
Martin's comment was nobody told Girl.
I certainly have enjoyed all of the comedic relief that we've had here in this cabin. Especially when we have someone from the Peanut Gallery who comes in to interrupt my interview.
Are you interviewing the voice?
But then that is totally in character for him to be doing such a thing.
Oh, God.
I've had to put up with him for the last 3 years.
Rebuttal, Tom.
He's not known for telling the truth anyway, so whatever say.
I would like to tell you that it's my intention to be mercifully brief, but it is important to note that the overarching and overriding issue that dominated our discussion and that directed the items that were brought up for discussion was the topic, how can colleges respond to changing social and economic needs?
I think it's a wonderful opportunity to be on this train ride and to be able to look through lace curtains out at the countryside of China and to have Oriental music, Chinese music in the background. So we are being serenaded too. We are actually being able to meet very wonderful colleagues here on the train around the breakfast table.
Well, it is thrilling to be in China and less thrilling to be on this train at this particular moment. As usual, I am very anxiety-ridden about the luggage, which we may or may not be able to get out of the train.
But, got my 5 hours and ready to jump into action.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, they don't believe me here. It was a little harrowing at first. I sort of thought the train ride might be an extension of the Beijing's train station. But it's been alright. Wait a minute. This guy's here.
We are firing him as a screenwriter.
He is sanitizing everything. What do you mean sanitizing everything?
The visit has been quite wonderful. Yesterday was we went with Frank Hale, who managed to get us into the Arthur Sackler Archaeology Museum at Beijing University. We were probably the 26th through 32nd Americans who'd ever been there. Americans aren't allowed on the campus. Frank had to make phone calls, and it took him about 15 or 20 minutes, but we got in, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous museum. It's just beautiful. And then in the afternoon, we went to the Summer Palace, and we rounded off our day with a walk through the China railroad station. And I'll give it over to Julia so she can talk about the trip.
Julia, let's talk about
All right, go ahead.
I think that from there on, it sort of went downhill because we find it quite difficult to make the adjustment to our accommodations last night.
I want to dissent from that. This has been a perfectly, well, I can't imagine a better way to spend 12 hours than traveling in this compartment with 3 lovely young ladies and a full modern bath just to my left. Whenever you're in need of some liquid refreshment, we have Sprite, we have from Zabar's, what do we have from Zabar's? Little
we have
Balducci's, what was it? Directly from New York?
From Zabar's, we have miniature scones.
Miniature scones.
Very fascinated by every aspect I've seen. It's a big country. It's actually far more complex than it looks. I'm exhilarated being able to see both Beijing and the countryside en route to Tian. It's just fascinating to see the people in their daily course of life. Look like the bikes and the walls and more prevalent than anything. It's just been phenomenal. It's really been phenomenal.
What do you look forward to?
Well, I really do want to be a part of the conference because I think it'd be interesting finding out what this level of educators exchange might do as much for us as for them. I'm looking forward to actually seeing the town and seeing what the education system looks like, getting a feel for what it is they really want. I'm just delighted to be a part of this trip.
what does creativity mean in its many contexts? And more important, how can we teach students to be creative? I'd like to use the word juxtaposition as a springboard to the discussion on creativity. Juxtaposition means placing side by side disparate objects or ideas. It allows you to see relationships between and among ideas and objects which most people perceive as belonging to separate spheres. For example, very different objects that are unrelated.
在代表们正式发言前，我想占用几分钟的时间，谈一谈我近2天的感受。
Just before the speakers started their speech, I just want to express some of my ideas on the discussions in our group.
通过近2天的讨论，
After the 2 days discussion,
我们这个组中美方的学者都一致认识到，高等学校的任务绝不是只向学生传授知识。
both the delegates from both China and American sides strongly believe that the tasks of the colleges and universities is not only to help the students obtain the knowledge.
更重要的是，要培养学生创造思维的能力和社会责任感。
The more important thing is to help the students to obtain the abilities to do their creative thinking and to share the social responsibilities.
In the last century, there are many Chinese who went abroad studying, particularly in America.
在本世纪里，有很多中国人远渡重洋到美国，到外国学习，主要是到美国。
Many of them have achieved prominence in their own field.
他们中的很多人取得了一定的成功。
A question often raised: Had they stayed in China, will they be as successful?
现在经常问的一个问题就是，如果他们在中国，是不是也能取得这样？
In America, creativity is constantly a topic of concern by teachers.
在美国教育的各个不同阶段的课堂教学上，发展学生创造性是一个永远为人谈论的话题。
And as I know it, it's much less emphasized in the Chinese education system, as I have gone through it myself.
据我的观察，在中国的教育里边，对这一点的强调还不够。
Chinese education emphasizes a lot more on rote memory.
中国的教育更侧重于死记硬背。
I'm not here to say memory is not good, not necessary for education at all.
这里我并不是说死记硬背对学习对教育没有任何作用。
But if memorization is the only form of education, then that hinders the development of creativity and the development of self.
The creative thinking has all the characters of the ordinary thinking.
还具有以下特征。
It also has the following characteristics.
第一是独创性和变通性。
The first one is the originality and flexibility.
所谓独创性，是指做出异乎寻常的反应，有创新能力。
For the originality means that you should be original.
所谓变通性，是指灵活多变。
Flexibility, it means flexible.
From the Chinese participants, several viewpoints were given. One, if the teacher is considered superior in the sense of knowing the absolute truth, then there is little encouragement for students' creativity. We discussed the issue of absolute truth and recognized that truth is related to time and situations, and the teacher should reflect this in the way of discussing the subject. The American delegates felt strongly about this. One Chinese participant gave some information about his colleagues. He said, to modernize China, students should love their country. We both agree that there are certain social values that students should have, but the Americans felt that this cannot be done with just slogans, and everyone agreed that it has to be done by examples.
We began to hear of many problems, but one seemed to frequently reemerge: the brain drain of graduates and young faculty abroad and out of the province. This was colorfully characterized as 孔雀南飞. The peacocks fly south. The south in this metaphor was the coastal provinces, Guangdong and abroad, where economic development and opportunities under the market economy were greater than here. We strove to couch this as a problem statement. After some debate, it became, how can Shanxi higher education retain and nurture its graduates and faculty as the market economy develops into the 21st century? We brainstormed 22 solutions to the problem. Everyone had 2 rounds to throw in their suggestions in the pot, and we ran out of blackboard space on 6 blackboards.
I've been very creative.
我觉得大家今天晚上能够听这些演讲啊，那么我将会认真听的话，我将会非常具有这个创造性的。
My original speech was 6 pages.
我一开始最初写的这个初稿呢，讲稿一共有6章。
When things started running late, I cut it to 5.
因为时间变得短，所以我就缩成了5章。
It's now hovering around 3.
现在差不多变成3章了。
And if I were really smart, I would stop now.
如果要是非常聪明的话，我就说到这儿就继续说下去。
They have already with you.
Well, we're having a dancing. We're having a dancing party tomorrow.
When?
Tomorrow at 6:30. We met some students who are looking forward to our company and wait for us. And it's great. Like Josh said, it's an honor. And Jean Marie has already been dancing.
We're the only people. Jean, you want to tell us something about it?
Tell about dancing?
Yeah.
Well, a very nice young man asked me if I was an American and asked me to dance.
And asked her if she was available.
This was at 6:45 in the morning.
Jean Marie
and he was very sweet. He's a middle school teacher of English. And he danced about as well as he spoke English.
Great.
It was fun.
Okay.
dishes without Tom Tan on it, we're suing.
That's right.
No, but I think life.
On the second day of the conference, everyone is fully recovered from the train trip, fit, doing jogging and Tai Chi exercises in the morning, ready for a wonderful excursion out to various universities, and productive sessions in the afternoon on the various topics that we've selected.
这个病人是脑梗塞，2个腿软，没有力。
脑梗塞。Something wrong with his brain. Something wrong with his brain blood vessel.
Right. Stroke. 中风。
是不是中风？是。Yes, stroke. Take the right part, the right 穴位。
穴位，好，然后可以给它提唱连转，这里边有酸麻胀痛的感觉。
I'm continuing to enjoy it. In fact, after the sessions now, I'm really exhilarated. They were very productive. I've seen for the first time in my life the edge of socialist theory revived. And so the reform attempt in the university is exciting, and I think they really want to hear what we have to say about what we've done and maybe some cautionary notes of what mistakes not to make. And just to be in that position for me is just phenomenal. I'm having a great time on the way to see some of this town. Plenty of food. This has just been a gorgeous trip.
In my previous trips, I had seen Shanghai and Beijing, and now that I'm in Taiyuan, I understand that they are facing the issue of brain drain or flight to the coast, and that there are many parallels to our life in the United States, the urban versus the local, the sophisticated versus the rural. So what's really wonderful about this trip is it's peeling the onion. It's another layer to China that I did not see on my first big city tour.
David Chang. $483? That's all we're getting? How come?
No. There is the check. This is for the cash for you.
There's another check.
There's another check?
Another check, yeah.
Oh, how wonderful. Film me, I'm smiling. $483 on top of the check? Is that real?
What do you want me to say? I'll say something.
You can do a Shakespeare.
Midsummer Night's Dream, you can be Puck. I will do this passage I did before. You want to do that? You'll be Puck, you come out, and I'll say, "Welcome, good Robin. Seest thou the sweet sight? Her dotage now I do begin to pity. For meeting her late behind the wood, seeking sweet favors of this hateful fool, I did upbraid her and fall out with her. For she his hairy temples had surrounded with coronets of fresh and fragrant flowers, and that same dew which sometime on above was wont to swell like round and orient clouds."
For me and many of my colleagues, a high point of this conference was our site visit, or our visits to schools, colleges, and universities in Taiwan. We marveled at the students in the garden going over their lessons, and the elderly intent on their Tai Chi. We joined the joggers and ran around the track, and accepted gracious invitations to ballroom dancing at 7 a.m. The range of activities and the large numbers of people of all ages involved in them will always symbolize for me the energy, variety, and spirit of the Chinese people. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to work with you and to learn with you over the years. I look forward to the continued richness of our association and the dawning of new mornings of shared conversations and cooperative projects.
I think that the highlight of the trip is that I was able to converse with David in Chinese for about 15 minutes.
Yes, there's a Chinese expression that says, 有志唔在，攞苦離身.
That means that when you can bathe in comfort, you refuse and you let go of that opportunity. Instead, what you are seeking is constant discomfort.
David said 4 words in Chinese.
That's the remarkable thing is 4 words in English translates into 14
actually, what
in
it means
Chinese.
is suffering is good. You see, suffering really builds character.
No, it doesn't mean that.
Well, I think I'm adding.
That is also the basis of the Greek, of Western civilization,
Yes,
where
right.
it says man must suffer to be wise.
Right. Where you
so
can
East
enjoy,
meets West.
Where you can enjoy
And
the
both run out of
luxury
breath.
and comfort of home. Instead, people have to go and
labor.
You know, and
Someone said that at the beginning of the week, it was Nancy who said at the beginning of the week, we weren't exactly sure whether we knew the meaning of critical thinking and creativity. And at the end of the week, we were certain that we didn't know the meaning of creativity and critical thinking, but that the whole process of finding out that we didn't know was great. Social responsibility we left on the plane, I believe.
This is not working, so if you don't mind, I'm going to stand up.
可以，麦克风不提左右的，都是站起来，大家不介意吗？
This is working now?
You just want to stand out. You don't mind.
This is working now.
You can
Thank
stand
you.
up. You can stand up.
I'll stand up anyway. The ravages of poverty must be eliminated, yet economic development can trap us into shallow, hollow lives without an education that enlarges our vision of a good society and enables us to work for it, so that all people may enjoy the quality of life, which moves us well beyond the production and consumption of material goods.
This is Long Ranger and Tonto.
Which is which?
That's what I remember. It's okay. Should I give the horse a rap, a hard rap?
No, you don't sit down. I all silvered away.
How about a little whack?
I remember the temple and bridge passed before. Hills and streams that all seemed to have lain in waiting for me. Flowers and willows so warmly opening out, their beauty and welcome. Out on the plains, smoke showed thin, The last rays of sunlight lingered on warm sands. Then a traveler's worries ceased, for nowhere could a better halting place be found.
You go, but just hold your breath though, okay? I don't want to be saccharine and say everything that everybody else has said already. I think that it was a very interesting trip for everyone. And after taking this trip, I really would recommend every American to come to China. Because I think it's through experience like this that people in America can truly appreciate the meaning of freedom, choice, and really appreciate what they have and see how other people can survive with how little they do have. And this trip has taught a lot to me, and I feel that personally it's been a very enlightening kind of experience. And it's not comfortable, it's not a vacation, but it's a real learning experience for me, and I appreciate it.
下一次我们将会在纽约再见。I would like to see you in New York next time. 我也招呼你
It was my childhood dream to come to China. Though it was a dream long delayed, I've been coming here regularly since 1982. Each time when I left, I thought I understood China, yet each time I have learned new and have relearned old ideas in new ways. And each time I have met people who have become colleagues and who now are longtime friends. I feel that these are gifts to me from Chinese and United States colleagues and friends, sharing in our efforts to transcend those particularities of time, place, and events, which often bind us intellectually and emotionally with the confines of our own respective cultures. Haltingly, often reluctantly, fleetingly, we sometimes experience those times of transcendence. And when we do, we recognize that what unites us as people can be more powerful and more important than what separates us. So 4 or 5 years from now, when the conference returns to China, I shall have retired from my college. It is important for other new delegates to share the opportunities and privileges that I have had to participate in these conferences, to take my place. So I want to close with parts of 2 poems which strike meaningful notes for me at this time. The first is by T.S. Eliot, Bert Norton, from 4 Quartets.
Let's wait for the camera. Tom. This is you in the still of the night. We have a third. I'll do the show. You do the lead correctly. I'll do the show. No, do the shows any way you want. I'm doing the lead the way I'm doing. We're out of the classroom now. No. You mustn't tape us because we're being naughty. Bob, repeat for the camera. Bob has a comment.
Where's the seminar on creativity when we need it?
Bob feels that we could have the seminar on creativity, we'd all be asleep in a minute.
Shady, it's your turn, you're the one.
I think you should interview the coordinator of the seminar.
I can pull out the speeches and read them if you like. I have them all.
You took them all. Maybe I did.
You know when the earlier
Well, it's called vanity.
In the still of the night, your time, not the still of the night, in the still of the night, the still of the night, I remember
All right, somebody sing my note and I'll holler.